To add buttons to your experiment, let's go over to the green Insert Stimuli button and go down about halfway to Buttons. Press button and it will appear on the canvas, and we can drag it around and resize it any way we see fit. So I'm just going to resize it relatively large and leave it at the bottom here. And the first thing we can do over on the properties is to rename the label of this button. So let's just say next trial to indicate that once you press this button, it will go to the next trial. Buttons are visible by default, but we can make them invisible if we have certain key press functions that we want to hide from the participant. But for most cases, let's leave it visible. Let's make the font size a little bit bigger, just so we can see a bit clearer. So also by default is the on change go to next trial. So basically, if the participant presses this button, it will start the next trial. And that's a default feature. We can unselect that if we have multiple buttons that you want to allow the user to select from. That's completely okay. It's all specific or context specific to the experiment. But in this case, let's leave this go to next trial on click. One of the things that we can do that's unique to buttons is enabling a keyboard shortcut or a key press. So let's just use the space bar for simplicity, and I'll go back to the label and add a space bar in parentheses to indicate to the participant that there are two ways to use this button. There we go. And on the data side, we can capture data and we can capture reaction time to the millisecond. Just click capture here and it will automatically capture. And we can also make this button or this button a required feature. So basically you can make it mandatory so that the user must press this button in order to complete this part of the study, to continue with the study and to finish and get paid. So let's just click required there. The time display is certainly not unique to buttons, but it can be very useful. In this case, there's no particular need for this, but let's just demonstrate with a 1000 millisecond delay. So what this will do is it'll, for 1 second, this canvas will be completely blank, and then after 1 second, this button will show. Now we can hide this button after a period of time, maybe 3 or 4 seconds, but if we leave it blank, then it'll display the button indefinitely. So let's just leave it like that because that's what I want to do. Now I'm going to repeat this trial a couple times. I'm going to duplicate it over here just so I can show you a couple different ways of advancing these trials. So let's save it and hit preview. So for 1 second, it was very quick, but for 1 second there was nothing on this page, and it would cause and now the button is displayed. So for the first trial, I'm going to press it with the mouse. So 1 second, and then it displays. And now this time I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut. So if I press the keyboard, then it triggers the next trial. And let's just use the key press one more time using the space bar to trigger the last trial to begin. There we go. So what we can see here is that button one was replicated 3 times for each of the trials. And the first one, because I was talking too long, it took 16 seconds for me to respond, and then 9 seconds, and then 7.5. So I'm actually getting better, a little bit more responsive. But that is how to use buttons and modify properties of buttons in a nutshell.